Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/IDontWorkHereLady. Today we have 3 news stories, and in this episode you will see, first story, I used to work here, but she never knew. Second story, entitled woman mistakes me for employee at Walmart, then comes for job interview, and a little incident from the bar as a third story. So I hope you've already subscribed to the channel so you don't miss a new video every day, and let's get started. I used to work here, but she never knew. Sorry this is such a long read, peeps. Figured you would like this, though. So a bit of backstory to start us off. This was back in 2005. I just learned of this subreddit yesterday. I'd started working at a popular game shop in October of 2005 as holiday help. As you can imagine, the Xbox 360 release in November was insane. Consoles and copies of Halo flying off the shelves. In the ensuing weeks after its release, I saw many a return of the Xbox 360 console for the dreaded RROD, Red Ring of Death. 9 for 10, this was caused by people just being extremely stupid with the console. Below is one such story. I should also note that I had a side business of repairing PCs and Xbox consoles, as the store often turned people away for being past the return period, 15 days. So I was making a tidy profit repairing the things for people that didn't want to wait for a warranty return and educating people on how to properly care for the console. And here's why this is an IDWHL story. My final shift had just ended. I was no longer an employee and turned in my lanyard. The manager, who I was on great terms with, asked me to mind the store for 20 minutes as she needed to empty the registers to make a bank deposit. This was an hour before the banks closed, and the morning rush had been very insane. I readily agreed as I was helping a friend. However, her bank run took nearly 50 minutes, which I was expecting. They always get a big rush near the end of the day. Here's the cast. OP is me, MF is manager friend, EK is entitled Karen, NK is nice kid, Fred equals security, Greg equals previously fired D-bag employee. Now, on with the main story. I'm in the store, totally alone, and decided to reorganize the PS2 shelves, as customers usually can't tell that it was alphabetized before they started putting things back wherever they felt like. The shelves were along the back wall, which allowed the front entrance to stay in my peripheral vision. In walks what I now know to be a Karen. Cheap gold jewelry that makes a racket that I can't even describe, typical haircut, knockoff shoes, resting B-face, with as much plastic on her body as a Barbie doll. Don't get me wrong, I'm a male, and the right kind of surgery can really get my attention. She looked like a first year did her work. She had a large plastic bag in hand, which she thunks down on the counter hard enough to put a dent in the cheap wood top. I notice she has about a 9-year-old behind her. Following conversation ensues. OP, can I help you? Note, I already turned in my lanyard and I never received store-specific clothing, so I'm wearing a black button-down shirt, black slacks, black belt, and black sneakers. Hey, I'm overweight. I like black. It's very slimming. EK. Yes, I want to exchange this console for a new one. It stopped working. OP. I actually don't work. EK. I don't care if it's your department or not. Get over here and help me. OP. Inward sigh. Let me take a look and see what I can do. EK, fine, but I haven't got all day. OP, do you have the receipt? So at this point, she hands over the receipt, which is badly faded, but I figure out the console was picked up on release day, November 22nd. This was February 20th. Further, on inspecting the console, I noticed a square spot directly under it that sagged and very shiny. I noticed EK is looking at the price-dropped Elite console bundle at the front, and NK is standing nearby, so I call him over. OP, hey kiddo, this your console? NK, uh-huh. OP, can you tell me where you normally keep it? NK, in the big room. OP, with the couches and stuff? NK, uh-huh. Tell me, is there a vent in there where the cold and hot air comes out? NK, yeah, but the game covers it up. Mama says it gets too hot in that room. At this point, I'm facepalming. EK decided to use a $400 box of hot electronics to plug a heat vent. No wonder it stopped working and started to melt. Also in the bag are 3 other games, besides Halo, all scratched to all hell and back. I call over EK. OP, I'm sorry, this console is way past our return period, and as the reason it stopped working was due to negligence, the manufacturer likely won't fix it either. But I can. Just when I was about to offer my personal services, I was cut off. EK, what the F, you lazy piece of S? Just exchange it for another one. That Elite bundle over there costs less than what I paid for this. The price had just dropped, so I'll take that one and replace those games while you're at it. Now, I no longer worked at the store. In hindsight, I should have just closed the doors, but with my knowledge of games, I was hoping to at least have some people ready to check out for MF when she returned. However, EK really pushed my buttons and I snapped. OP, lady, you are obviously very stupid. Her face started getting that lovely color of cherry red. First, our return policy is 15 days. Anything past that is the manufacturer's problem. Second, you used a sensitive piece of electronics to block a heat vent. You're lucky your house didn't burn down. Third, you bought a mature-rated game for an underage child, something we can be fined up to $5,000 for. Fourth, you were just very rude to the only person in this town who could have actually helped you out. Now I'm not inclined to. Get out! EK screaming, you can't talk to me that way! Give me your corporate number! I'm going to report you and get you fired! At this point, I figured, what the hell? I've already finished working here, so I write down the corporate number on a piece of printer paper. Then an idea struck me. A few weeks back, we had a new seasonal guy who was just terrible, rude with customers, knew nothing about what he was selling, and bossed others around. So I wrote his employee ID number on there. I only remember it because he forced everyone to memorize it to pump his subscription stats, even though he never sold a single one. EK is screaming at me the whole 2 minutes it takes for me to write all this down. Fred comes running up to the front like a murder was going on. Fred, what in the hell is going on here? EK, this employee was extremely rude and tried to assault me. Arrest him. Fred, is this true, OP? OP, nope, you know where the camera computer is. Take a look. Last 12 minutes should do it. EK, camera? Fred, do I really need to take a look at the footage or will you calm down? OP, she is to be escorted from the building. Here is the information you requested. Have a nice day. EK, I'll have your job for this. And she stomped out, practically dragging the poor kid behind her. Fred returned about 7 minutes later. Fred, WTF was that all about, OP? OP, grab us some coffee and I'll tell you once MF gets back. Oh, grab her one too. So Fred grabs 3 coffees and returns, and MF walks in about 10 minutes later, spots the console on the counter, EK left it behind, and gives me that, you've got a good story, don't you look. I recount the whole thing. MF is getting more horrified by the second, while Fred is practically rolling on the floor with laughter. At this point, I remind MF that I'm already not an employee, and if it gets her out of hot water, she can say she already fired Greg. MF, what does Greg have to do with this? OP, well, as you can imagine, the lady was rather peeved. MF, I would think so. OP, and asked me for the corporate number and my name, so I gave her the number and Greg's employee ID number. It took almost a minute for that last bit to sink in. Then MF busted out laughing. MF, well, Greg was a turd. But that was so wrong. Fred, so what do you plan to do with the stuff she left? MF, OP, can you fix that? OP, very likely. Why? MF, to Fred, I don't see anything on the counter. Now the ropes were turned on me. It took me a full minute to realize what she just said, so I quietly bundled up the whole mess and took it home. Turns out the only thing it needed was a new capacitor, which my brother installed, I suck at soldering, and a new fan. Ran great for years, used my CD polisher to fix the games too. All in all, about a $550 severance package. And our second story. Entitled woman mistakes me for employee at a Walmart, then comes for job interview. I was doing some late night shopping on a Sunday night at Walmart when this woman comes up to me. Excuse me, I need help finding these items. She shoves a list into my chest. I'm sorry, miss, I don't work here. I think that was the wrong thing to say, because she just exploded on me. Bullcrap, don't be lazy, you're in the uniform. My shirt was the same color as a Walmart employee's, but I was not an employee. It's the same color, but I repeat, I'm not an employee. I can't help you. F you, you lazy F. Get me your manager. I'm going to get you fired. I decided to just walk away. She yelled and tried to chase after me, but I keep running until I lose her. Then I go and pay for my things. Now, a week later, I was told I would be interviewing someone who was applying for the secretary position in our company. So I go to the interview room and call in the applicant. I look at the picture on the application form and my eyes widened. It was the same woman who'd harassed me in the Walmart. Oh, now this was too perfect. She came in, saw me, and gasped. "Take a seat, please," I said, and she sat down, looking pale. Oh, I was going to enjoy this, but I conducted the interview as professionally as possible. I made it very painful for her. So if someone came up to you and asked you for help in a place you didn't work, then you told them you didn't work there, and then they yell at you, and then they harass you when they come for a job interview, and you were the one interviewing them, what would you do? Would you give them a job? She did not get the job, and I got some payback. Imagine if you hadn't run into her and seen that side of her. You might have hired her and seen her explode on one of your clients. Bullet dodged, OP. And our third little story. I guess I work here now. A few years back, I was at my local pub for a couple of beers to watch my mate's band. I just got off work, so I was suited and booted. I was sat at the end of the bar, and the place is heaving. Busy. A drunk old muppet, DOM, sick of waiting at the bar, smacks me on the shoulder and shouts, "I'm trying to get a effing pint here. Get off your arse and serve me." I said, "Mate, I'm having a drink. I don't work here." DOM, "Yes, you do. I've seen you behind the bar." Me, "Maybe, mate, but that was about 10 years ago." He grumbled something incoherent and effed off for a bit. Barmaid, "You used to work here?" "It's mental, but could you give us a hand? 2 staff have rung in sick, and I'm rushed off my feet. I can pay you in beer." Me at the offer of free beer. "Yeah, no problem, hun." So I jump behind the bar and start serving. DOM comes back up. "See, I told you worked here. I'll have you fired. Now I want an effing drink." Me. Glances at barmaid, raises eyebrows. She grins and nods. Me smiling. "You're barred, mate. Now F off. Free drinks all night, plus 20 pounds in tips, and a raging justice boner." Hey guys, thank you all for watching video to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.